Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Kida Studio, welcome to the Ho-Ho Show. And as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. It's been a while. I took a month off and, I've been angry. Y'all's listened to my last 2 episodes. I've been angry, and it's just, it's frustrating, very frustrating, with everything that's going on, it's just, it boggles me how we have fallen so far from what our founding fathers intended this nation to be, But before we get into all that, I got a couple announcements to make. So I got introduced to a new website that does web hosting. Basically, it does everything. So I'm going to be porting some things over and getting some things accomplished. I'm very excited about it, because it's one of those things I'll be able to do everything I'm wanting to, all in one spot. Every website doing everything is going to be so much cheaper. It's going to be so much cheaper. Do everything and more that I'm already doing, and it's going to cost me significantly less. So this is going to, obviously, because there's a lot of stuff, including newsfeed articles and whatnot. There's a lot to port. There's a lot of things to transfer over and, get everything ready. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but, it'll happen. It's going to happen. It might take me a month or 2 to get everything ported, especially with the newsfeed stuff. It's crap. I'm not looking forward to it. I've done, just to give you an idea. Okay, just to give you a hint. Let's see if it actually shows on here how many magazines I've done. Let's see if it tells me. No. Here we go. Show more. See if it gives me a number of magazines. Oh, yeah. Hey, it does. It gives me a number right there on the very top. There's a lot of magazines that I've made on Flipboard, which is, that's what I make available to you in order to, double check me, fact check me with all the information that I throw out there. I throw a lot of magazines because generally there's at least 20 different articles that I use as reference points. So how many of them, you ask? Right here, the second one over, magazines, 197. 197 magazines. That dates back a while. Oh, good grief. That's my very first one. The North Korea one, that is my very first one. 2017. Actually, September of 2017. So I've been doing that, and I didn't realize that. I've been doing that since day one. No wonder why there's so many freaking magazines in there. 197 magazine. Forgot to put the S at the end of it. That's a lot. So to teleport, put all those over there in the new platform. It's going to take just a little bit. All right, now, on to the next thing. Now, this is exciting. All right, now look. I gotta be upfront with you on this. I have been sworn to secrecy on something that's going on. Okay. Sworn to secrecy. But let me tell you this, this is a huge step, and it's a groundbreaking idea. It's something that I have never heard put out there. Something that, I can't even say that because I don't want to give you any hints as to what's going on, because at this point, like I said, I'm sworn to secrecy, so I can't give you any hints. Okay. But let's just say it's huge, it's big, and it's going to be awesome. I'm excited about it. I have other people that I need to talk to, that I have been given the okay to do so. And, but when this happens, and from what I have been told is going to be happening next week, and I'm sure whenever I get to go ahead to make the announcement, I'll do that on Facebook. It won't be, a separate video to make that announcement, but yeah, may do an interview about that. That'll be actually pretty cool. A good way to launch the whole thing in. That'll actually be pretty stinking awesome. So, but anyway, next week, prepare for something because it's pretty stinking awesome. I'm excited about it. So yeah, new website's going to be getting done. Got huge news coming up that I'll be able to tell you about next week. Definitely. I'm sure I'll get to go ahead and do it beforehand, but definitely next week. So anyway, yeah, that's what we got going on. All right. Now, this isn't going to be a typical episode. And I'm going to be honest with you about something. I don't know what a typical episode of mine looks like anymore. Holy crap. With the stuff that's going on and just like, my attitude towards everything that's going on with the attacks on Trump, with the complete double standard in, the law, the justice system. It's just that the hypocrisy has been blatant, and, that kind of stuff, it infuriates me. And I'm not going to lie on that. It absolutely infuriates me. I don't know what a normal show even looks like. So to say that this one isn't going to be a normal show, maybe that's the new norm, the abnormal show. I don't know. Maybe it is. But anyway, I'm not necessarily going to be bringing up, I'm not really using a lot of articles in this one. Okay. Yes, there's been some new stuff coming out, with the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's involvement. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm sure that y'all are mostly aware of all this. But the biggest thing that we're going to be talking about today is just the constitutionality of laws. Okay. And that's more or less what we're going to be talking about today. Okay. And if you want dude, I forgot to do that. I need to, okay, later I'll do it. I'll have to do it after the show because I ain't going to be able to do it now. But, all right, there has been just an ongoing assault on our Second Amendment rights. Okay. Ongoing assault. With the, obviously with the assault weapons ban that's going on here in Illinois, and there's other states that's doing it too, that have some type of an assault weapons ban. They're being tricky on things now. They're again trying to attack this from a backdoor type of a way. Okay. They're not ban, first it was, just an all out ban on guns. And then it was going to be, a ban on, the restricting the age that your ammunition can be in to where you have to properly dispose of it or turn it in after it's been a certain age. They're wanting to do age restriction on owning certain rifles. They're doing all kinds of stuff, and they did actually succeed in one thing because Remington, I believe the third time since 2014 has filed bankruptcy. And they've done that because they have allowed, as in, the geniuses the federal government is, because this is what they want to happen. Okay. They allowed it to happen because they wanted it to happen. They wanted to get the result that they got. And you don't see this happen in any other industry out there, ever. The machine says, what is the ammo you speak of? I'm not a fan of Star Trek. The ammo, ammo. They had the, restriction. You could only have ammo for a certain amount of time, and then you had to dispose of it. Restriction on how much ammo you can have, all this other kind of good stuff. That's what, some of the things that they're doing in other states. Okay. But, for the third time, Remington had filed bankruptcy, and Remington is going to be closing their doors. They're closing their doors because the federal government opened them up to basically removing their, liability, making it to where they can be sued by people. And from I think the biggest one that really did them in was from the Sandy Hook shootings, if I'm not mistaken. It was one of the school shootings. I'm pretty sure it was a Sandy Hook shootings. That's the one. I mean, Remington had to pay out all kinds of money on that. Okay. And it takes me off because this is the only industry that, one, the federal government took away a company's LLC, protections from civil suits. Okay. But have you ever seen an auto manufacturer being blamed for a DUI? Somebody who dies from a drunk driver? No, because rightfully they blame not the vehicle, they blame the driver. But for some reason, they're like, oh, no. We're going to do this. We're going to allow people to have civil suits and to sue gun manufacturers for these shootings. Even though the problem isn't the gun, the problem is the enforcement of laws. And any new gun legislation they write doesn't do anything to, stop a criminal, just to stop a law-abiding citizen. Machine puts in here, he goes, imagine being sued for a product that does as it's intended but was misused. Exactly. And that's what happened. I mean, these people broke the laws, and the gun manufacturer is being blamed, and the federal government is allowing it to happen. Very, very concerning. So yeah, Remington is now closing its doors. They're done. First I heard they was closing their doors, and I think it was like in New York where the, where their base of operation, like their main plant is or whatever. And I was like, oh, they're going to be moving to a different state that is, nicer on businesses, and to where they don't have to, pay the exorbitant amount for these contracts to, which is hilarious. A gun manufacturing plant that's a union plant that pays money and union dues, and those union dues go to the Democrat Party, which wants to shut them down. I mean, that just seems to me like, why would you want to do that? Why Remington stayed in New York, I have absolutely no idea. I have absolutely no idea. Maybe their luck would have changed if they would have went somewhere else from the get-go, if they would have went down to Texas or something. Good grief. Why would you want to be in New York anyway? There's not a lot of businesses that have their corporate headquarters in New York, let alone the city. Not a lot of them. And I don't know what the ones that are thinking. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense to me. So we got some things to talk about. I'm going to be bringing up the Federalist number 29. I'm going to be bringing up Federalist number 46. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about this gun bill. A little bit. Not a lot, a little bit. And Brandon and I went into that, in a lot more detail on his show this past Thursday night. So head on over to, where can they find you? What's the best place to find you at? Over on Facebook, or go to your Spreaker, or probably Facebook, right? We're going to go with that. Since you haven't said nothing yet. So, yeah. Just search the Machine Radio Show. You'll find them. And you can catch that Thursday show. We discuss it quite a bit. And if you want to call in, you can do that too. You can definitely do that. I don't care. But not just yet. Hold up a minute, because we're going to be, we got stuff to talk about. But before we get into any of that, let's go ahead and take a quick break. Hell, what about that? Let's go ahead and take a quick break. Just, the Machine Radio Show YouTube. Okay, yeah, that'd be the best place to get a hold of him. So check that out over on YouTube, the Machine Radio Show. There you go. And it was a good show. But we're going to take a quick break. Before we jump into this, give me a little opportunity to do some woo-san. It'll be a good time. So just a couple minutes, and I'll be right back. Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampon's brand butt plugs. Tampon's brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampon's brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampon's brand butt plugs. All right, welcome back. Tampon brand butt plugs. I figured, considering the topic of conversation, that would actually be rather fitting. So, on this segment, we're going to be talking about Federalist number 46 and 29. Now, 46 is like, what, 6 pages, I think? And, yeah, I'm not reading all that. I'm not going to read all that. What I got for Federalist 29, we're going to be reading some of that, and then we're going to be talking about some quotes of the... I'm not, actually. I wasn't. I was good. Shut up. Anyway. Then we're going to be talking about some quotes in the next segment regarding what the Founding Fathers said about the Second Amendment. And there's a lot of quotes in here. We're going to be reading most of them. But anyway, let's go ahead and get in. Okay, the Federalist number 46, okay? And if you want to check these out, you can head on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab, and you'll see my magazine on Flipboard. Click on that, and you'll see like the top 3 articles in the magazine are these. Okay, you can check that out. There you go. I definitely recommend doing that. It's a good read. Or, of course, you can just Google it on YouTube. You can pull up the same information. Whichever you want to do. Whichever is easiest for you to do. That's what I recommend you do. Do that. But let's do the nutshell of at least the main point in Federalist number 46. Basically, it's talking about the superiority clause. Okay? The argument of which government is superior, the federal government or the state government. And the author of Federalist 46 basically said, neither, because the people are superior to both, so it doesn't matter. He kind of shut that down. It's like, no, it doesn't matter. Okay, now one, according to the Constitution, the federal government has enumerated powers. As in, they're restricted to they're only supposed to operate within these 5 lanes that they were specifically given by the Constitution. Everything else belongs to the people, to the state and the people respectively. That's what it amounts to. We have the Bill of Rights, but the Ninth Amendment is, by the way, you have way more freedom than what we can put down in these amendments. And, just know that, these Bill of Rights isn't an all-inclusive list of your rights. You have so many more. That's what the Ninth Amendment basically says. There you go. Superiority clause. Which is superior to the other, the federal court or the state court? And the author said, it doesn't matter because the people are superior to both. I'm putting it in a nutshell. I'm breaking it down for you. That's the 46th Federalist art paper. Yeah. So let's move on to the Federalist number 29. Now, I got this article that has a lot of quotations in here. This is from Wikipedia, just throwing that little disclaimer out there. I did not write this, put this together. I just looked at it, read it, looked at the quotes. Yeah, that's accurate. And was like, interesting on a lot of this. Interesting. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, this one is talking about a couple different things. It's talking about the Second Amendment. It's talking about the type of armaments that the people have the ability to own. This talks about why you have the ability to have these armaments. It talks about the militia. And it even includes in here something from the Anti-Federalist paper as the argument against the militia. And basically, it kind of cracks me up, but they're both basically saying the same thing. I mean, they're both saying the same thing. The Anti-Federalist papers and the Federalist papers still say that, yes, it's important for the citizenry to be armed. However, I don't like the idea that the federal government can have control of that they could take control of the militia, and of which case, it's like, dude, if you want to be real about it, it ain't going to happen. That's the whole entire point of the militia in the first place. It's not going to happen, okay? It's not going to happen. But let's go ahead and get into this one. Hamilton states that a well-regulated militia composed of the people will be more uniform and beneficial to the public defense of Americans. He argues that an excessively large militia can harm a nation's workforce. Too many people in the militia, they got to do their training, they got to do their stuff. It's going to, put strain on the workforce, and they didn't want that. That's why they were like, train twice a year. There you go. Train twice a year. That was his, pretty much his answer for that one. It's not going to, doing it like that, staggering your service and whatnot. It's not going to put a strain on the economy and the workforce. That you'll be fine. It'll be okay. It's all right. It continues. Well, that's the background. Let's see here. Anything in here that I really need to? Doesn't look like it. I don't care. Let's move on. We'll skip the background. Again, this is available over at thehohoshow.com. Click on that newsfeed tab, the magazine for today's date, 12/16/2023. And this is one of the top 3 that's in that magazine. The third one. Okay, third one. There you go. This continues. The militia's main responsibility would be to protect the nation from phenomena that can or will endanger national security. First in the Federalist 29, Hamilton writes that it requires no skill in the science of war to discern that uniformity in the organization and discipline in the militia would be attended with the most beneficial effects. What's that saying? Well, it's pretty simple. Get a gun, be proficient, and know your weapon. That's one of the things, and it says somewhere in here, one of the points I'm going to make right now. It either says this in here, or I think it's actually in here somewhere, but America, we're kind of unique on that. We just don't have our guns. We sleep with them. We know them intimately. During the Revolutionary War, the colonials, us, the U.S., we were outnumbered on the battlefield. And the dead British numbered twice of the dead Americans on the battlefield. And the reason for that is we were a nation. Back then we were a people that had guns, that used them, and it was a way of life. We were better equipped on the battlefield. We knew our weapons, we took aim, we fired, and we were more effective on the battlefield. That's what it amounts to. How do you get that proficiency? By making it to where you are a nation of people that are familiar with guns since the day they're old enough to hold one. That's how you get that. That is what separated us on the battlefield, was our proficiency in our weapons to stand up against an army that had more numbers than what we had. We were far outnumbered on the battlefield during the Revolutionary War. What saved our ass? The right of the people to keep and bear arms. We were proficient in our weaponry. We used guns to protect our family, to defend our homes, and to hunt for food. We knew how to use it better than the enemy did. That's how we won. And our founding fathers understood that, recognized it, and that's why it was codified in the Second Amendment. Continuing on. Unlike militias of the past, Hamilton viewed new militias as a uniformed group similar to that of an organized army. You see, it's not just that you know your weapon inside and out and are proficient enough to use it, but you also have to be able to use it within a group of people. Because on the battlefield, unlike in Call of Duty, there's no such thing as friendly fire. Let me say that again. Unlike Call of Duty, in a battle, there's no such thing as friendly fire. So get proficient with your weapon, know how to use it, and know how to operate within a unit. That's why you go to training. That's why you do that kind of stuff. That's why. It's right there. Isn't that awesome? It is therefore with the most evident propriety that the plan of the conventional proposes to empower the Union to provide for organizing armies and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States. There you go. Let's continue. Actually, I don't think there's a whole... here we go. To oblige the great body of the Whoa, holy crap. Boy, that's a word. Yeomanry. Yeomanry. I'm an uneducated smart person or an uneducated idiot. I'm not exactly sure how that goes. That's a word that I'm going to be honest with you. What the heck is that? I don't even know. Context clues. What's it say? And of the other classes of the citizens to be under arms to the purpose of going through military exercises and evolutions and, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Here's one of the points of the militia. Let me just put that aside. Here's the points of the militia. Nobody knows your town, your city, better than you do. Nobody knows the countryside that you've lived in your entire life. If you've lived there your entire life, better than you do. Nobody is going to defend your home better than you. That's why the duty of defending the homeland didn't go to a standing army. Constitutionally speaking, the standing army is only supposed to be active for 2 years and then sent back home. Our founding fathers was afraid of a standing army because that put too much power in the hands of Congress, and they did not want those guns being pointed inward. And that, again, is the whole point of the militia. To keep the federal government in check. That's the whole point. The entire point. Don't believe me? Let's take a quick break. When I return, I got this to talk about. The Founding Fathers explained the Second Amendment. This says it all. Quotes by our Founding Fathers from Benjamin Franklin, from James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, people whom founded this nation, fought against tyranny. They're talking about the Second Amendment and why they codified it as number 2. That's what we're going to be talking about right after this. Have you ever been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you. Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. See, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. And we're back. You know, Brandon, that's a little advertisement that you should have put on your show on Thursday. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I had too much Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into this. The Founding Fathers explained the Second Amendment. Look, with everything that's going on, okay, I want to reiterate something. This is something that I've said many times in the past, and I'm going to keep saying it until people start understanding it. The little document right here. Constitution of the United States of America. This little bitty booklet is 37 pages long. Within it contains the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and all of the 27 amendments that is followed. And I don't care about case law precedents, and here it doesn't exist. I still need to record Farmer Brothers commercial. Yeah, that would. Mm-hmm. This thing was written in stupid English, okay? It was written in stupid English. It wasn't written using $10 words when $2 words would do it. They did that on purpose, okay? Because they wanted the average person with a basic education, with just the ability to read and that has, some semblance of, reading comprehension. Back in the day, a fourth grader could have read this and known exactly what their rights were, exactly what it said, have been able to understand it perfectly. Okay? You don't need a college education to read this, because if you have to go to somebody else, a Harvard educated idiot, in order to find out what your freedoms are, then you don't have freedom. The only freedom you have are the ones that people are willing to tell you that you have, and that's not freedom. That's not freedom. That's not liberty. Our founding fathers understood that. So they wrote this in stupid English so everybody would be able to, everybody that could read it could understand it. Like that one word that was like, holy crap, what the heck was that? That ain't in here. These guys were educated people. They knew what they were talking about, and they still chose to write it in stupid English so that this way your average Joe can read it, not having a college education. Let me reiterate the point. If you have to go to somebody else and be told what your freedoms are, then you don't have freedoms. It's pretty simple, okay? Now look, all of these things have a pretty significant theme behind it. These are writings by our founding fathers. They fought against tyranny. They fought for individual, personal freedom, self-governance. That's what they fought against. They fought against tyranny. The reason to have a gun was pretty clear to them. It was pretty clear. Yeah. Now these are not quotes that I put together myself. I did not search all this stuff down. I just did a search for the founding fathers and what they meant about the Second Amendment, and that was it. And I came up with this article that put together a bunch of quotes by our founding fathers from BuckeyeFirearms.org. Okay, that's where this comes from. BuckeyeFirearms.org. Every one of these quotes are in there, and there's a significant amount of quotes, and they all pretty much say the same freaking thing, and it's amazing. And they put in here, yeah, there's like, several pages of this, and it says, here's just a few quotes on this subject from them. A free people ought not only to be armed, but disciplined. From George Washington. Again, be familiar with your weapon, be proficient, know how to use it, and be able to use it in a group. It's important. Friendly fire doesn't exist on the battlefield. Continuing on, no free man shall ever be debarred the use of arms. If only that was true. That was Thomas Jefferson back in 1776. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. Freedom is messy, people. Our founding fathers understood that. So did Thomas Jefferson, who said that back in 1787. What country can preserve its liberties if their rulers are not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. That's a quote from Thomas Jefferson, 1787. The laws that forbid the carrying of arms are laws of such a nature they disarm only those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crimes. Such laws make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailants. They serve rather to encourage than to prevent homicides. For an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. That is so relevant to what's going on that it's not even funny. I'm going to say that again here in a minute, but instead of reading it from this freaking piece of paper, let me bring up the article, and hopefully that'll make it easier for me to do this. Which one did I do? The laws. Okay, that one. And that was said again by Thomas Jefferson in, well, I don't know. But Thomas Jefferson said that quote. With what's going on in Illinois and in many other states around the country, you have police forces that are struggling to, enforce the law. And let me be honest with you about something. A police officer's job isn't to stop crime. Their presence may be a deterrent, but their job isn't to stop anything. Their job is to show up after the fact and figure out who did it. That's it. That's your job. If you actually ask any police officer out there, they'll tell you the same thing. Their job isn't to stop or prevent crime. It's to investigate the crime after it's already happened. So we have a police force that is struggling, with the whole defund the police that they've been doing for so long. We have criminals that are being released from prison, violent offenders, people that has committed murder, assault, carjackings, all this other kind of stuff that are being released from prison. And you have governors that are trying to take away your Second Amendment right and tell you that it's being done for your own good. We're going to take away the means by which you have to protect yourself, and we're going to release prisoners back into the street, and, if you do anything about it, well, then shame on you. We're going to prosecute you because you dared to use a gun against somebody that was breaking into your house. That's what we have going on. Let me read this again. The laws that forbid the carrying of arms are laws of such a nature. They disarm only those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crimes. Such laws make things worse for the assaulted, and better for the assailants. They serve rather to encourage than to prevent homicides. For an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. That is something that is pretty stinking simple to understand, is it not? Do you guys remember back in the day whenever the second movie in John Nolan's Batman series was released, The Dark Knight, the one that had Christian Bale and Heath Ledger in it? You know, the guy that went in and shot the movie theater up, did you know that he passed numerous movie theaters before he found one that was a gun-free zone? That's the one he went into. Why? He knew he'd be able to do the most damage without resistance. That's why he chose that one. And let me ask you a question. For all you people that are smarter than me out there. In my lifetime, I don't recall a single law that was written on guns that would have stopped the crime that put them in a frenzy that they passed that law. You know, the magic laws that they write after some kind of a shooting. There's not one stinking law that they've written. Like after Sandy Hook, they wrote laws. Would any of those laws have prevented that crime? No. Because they already broke crimes in order to happen. Every single one of them. Without exception. You know, the problem my entire life has not been gun laws. It's been people's willingness to enforce the laws that we've already had, because these criminals, they already knew that, hey, something is amiss here. There's warning flags going up, and they chose to do nothing about it. Or they were laxed in something. Or they flat out broke a law, but the crime was committed by a criminal, and it wasn't a lawful act. There's no magic law you can write that would have, prevented Sandy Hook, that would have prevented what happened in Las Vegas. You picked the mass shooting. The criminal broke laws, and there's not a law that they could have written that would have stopped it from happening. You're fooling yourselves. Let's continue. A strong body makes the mind strong as to the... I don't care about that one. No, I'll read it, whatever. A strong body makes the mind strong as to the species of exercises I advise the gun. While this gives moderate exercises to the body, it gives boldness, enterprise, and independence to the mind. Games played with the ball and others of the nature are too violent for the body and stamp no character on the mind. Let your gun, therefore, be your constant companion of your walks. Basically, what's that saying of people of weaker stature don't have to be concerned about somebody assaulting them because, well, the gun is a great equalizer. That's what that's saying. Let's put that in a nutshell. The Constitution of most our states and of the United States asserts that all power is inherent in the people, that they may exercise it by themselves, that it is their right and duty to be at all times armed. Did you hear that? You see, it's not just our right to keep and bear arms. It's our duty. That's what we are supposed to do. And that was by Thomas Jefferson back in 1824. I know I've missed a lot of, who said these. A lot of them are Thomas Jefferson. Most of them are Thomas Jefferson. Continuing on. On every occasion of constitutional interpretation, let us carry ourselves back to the time when the Constitution was adopted. Recollect the spirit manifested in the debates. And instead of trying to force what meaning may be squeezed out of the text or invented against it, instead let us conform to the probable one in which it was passed. In other words, what part of shall not be infringed don't them stinking people understand? It's pretty stinking clear, but they're trying to dilute it. And that one, again, was Thomas Jefferson back in 1823. I enclose. No, I'm sorry. Hold that. Rewind. This one is one that I've actually referred to earlier. I enclose you a list of the killed, wounded, and captives of the enemy from the commencement of hostilities at Lexington in April 1775 until November of 1777. Since which there has been no event of any consequence. I think that upon the whole, it has been about one half the number lost by them. In some instances more, but in others less. This difference is ascribed to our superiority in taking aim when we fire. Every soldier in our army having been intimate with his gun from his infancy. In other words, we were far better than the Britons whenever it came to firing and shooting. We were better. We were deadlier. We knew our gun better. And again, who better to defend your home and homeland than you? Because you have that personal connection. That one, again, was Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson. The next one. They that can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Benjamin Franklin. To disarm the people is the most effectual way to enslave them. That one was George Mason. I ask, who are the militia? This is a question we hear a lot, right? Who is the militia? Is it the National Guard? No, and I'll break that down to you here in a minute. I ask, who are the militia? I continue again. They consist now of the whole people, except a few public officers. Who's the militia? We the people. Let me break something down for you, all right? The difference between the militia and the military is simple. Where did you get your stuff? Where'd your gun come from? Did you pay it? Did you pay for it or did your uncle provide it? Where'd you get your vehicle that you're driving? Did you pay for it or did your uncle pay for it? Where'd you get your ammo from? Was it you, your hard work and labor, your money, or was it from your uncle? Where'd you get your gear, your pack, your canteen, your uniform, the clothing that you're wearing, the hat over your head? Where did you get it? Did you pay for it or did your uncle? The difference between the militia and the military, I include the National Guard in this, is that the militia pay for their own stuff. In the military, it is provided for them by good old Uncle Sam. That's the difference. You want to know what the fundamental difference between the two is? In the militia, you buy your own stuff. That means that it's your gun. It's not the government's, it's your gun. You have the right to keep and bear arms. Why? Because the security of a free state depends on it. And in order for there to be a militia, for the security of the state, you have to have the right to keep and bear arms. And let's not forget, this is nature's law. Deer and antelope have antlers. A porcupine has quills. A rhinoceros has horns. You have your mind, which made a gun to protect you in self-defense and for other reasons. Moving on. Before a Before a standing army can rule, the people must be disarmed, as they are in almost every country in Europe. The supreme power in America cannot enforce unjust laws by the sword, because the whole body of the people are armed and constitute a force superior to any band of regular troops. That's why there's a Second Amendment, people. Yes, protect yourself against robbers and thieves and people who would seek to kill you and take your stuff and kill your family. Yeah, that is a benefit to the Second Amendment. Another benefit to the Second Amendment is being able to hunt for yourself, so that this way you can in times of need. But the truth is, that's not the point of the Second Amendment. See, our founding fathers was afraid of a standing army because they knew that if the government had that much power, there would come a time that those guns wouldn't be pointing outward anymore. They would be pointing in at the citizenry. And our job is to keep the government in check. If we're unarmed, they have no resistance. They can do what they want, and there's really nothing we can do about it. That quote that I had read was from Noah Webster. And that name should be familiar to you. Besides the advantage of being armed, which the Americans possess over the people of almost every nation, the existence of subordinate governments to which the people are attached and by which the militia forces are appointed forms a barrier against the enterprises of ambition more insurmountable than any which a simple government of any form can admit of. James Madison, 1788. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. A well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people, trained to arms, is the best and most natural defense of a free country. James Madison, 1789. The ultimate authority, wherever the derivative may be found, resides in the people alone. James Madison. Necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. It is the argument of tyrants. It is the creed of slaves. Isn't that what they say? Every single time they want to pass a new law, we're doing this for your own safety. It is necessary to secure for your own security that we pass this gun law and make it to where you can't defend yourself. When seconds count, the police are minutes away. Isn't that how the saying goes? Something like that. Isn't that how that goes? Moving on. A militia, when properly formed, or in fact the people themselves, and include, according to the past and general usage of the states, all men capable of bearing arms. To preserve liberty, it is essential that the whole body of the people always possess arms and be taught alike, especially when young, how to use them. Richard Henry Lee, 1788. Guard with jealous attention the public liberty. Suspect everyone who approaches that jewel. Unfortunately, nothing will preserve it but downright force. Let me say that again. Guard with jealous attention the public liberty. Suspect everyone who approaches the jewel. Unfortunately, nothing will preserve it but downright force. Continuing, whoever you give up that force, you are ruined. Whenever you give up that force, you are ruined. The great object is that every man be armed. Everyone who is able might have a gun. Patrick Henry. A speech to the Virginia ratifying convention, June 5th, 1778. Moving on. This may be considered as the true palladium of liberty. The right to self-defense is the first law of nature. In most governments, it has been the study of rulers to confine this right within the narrowest limits possible. Wherever standing armies are kept up, and the right of the people to keep and bear arms is, under any color or pretext whatsoever, prohibited, liberty, if not already annihilated, is on the brink of destruction. Isn't that what we're going through right now? Isn't that what we're going through right now? Yes, it is. Moving on. The supposed quietude of a good man allures the ruffian, while on the other hand, arms, like law, discourage and keep the invader and the plunderer in awe, and preserve order in the world as well as property. The balance of power is the scale of peace. The same balance would be preserved were all the world destitute of arms, for all would be alike. But since some will not, others dare not lay them down. Though some will not, others dare not lay them aside. My bad. And while a single nation refuses to lay them down, it is proper that all should keep them up. Horrid mischief would ensue were one half the whole deprived of the use of them. For while avarice, whatever, and ambition have a place in the heart of man, the weak will become a prey to the strong. The history of every age and nation establishes these rules, and facts need but little arguments when they prove themselves. Thomas Paine. There's a few in here that I'm actually looking for specifically. Let me skim a couple right quick. Let's see. The Constitution shall never be construed to prevent the people of the United States who are peaceably citizens. And, well, Sam Adams, you were wrong on that one. They've been taking that away. The right of the citizens to keep and bear arms has justly been considered as the palladium of the liberties of a republic, since it offers a strong moral check against the usurpation and arbitrary power of rulers, and will generally, even if these are successful in the first instance, enable the people to resist and triumph over them. Joseph Story. What, sir, is the use of a militia? Okay. I think y'all get the gist. I'm almost done anyway, but I think y'all get the gist. Let's do this last one. As civil rulers, not having their duty to the people before them, may attempt to tyrannize, and as the military forces which must be occasionally raised to defend our country might pervert their power to the injury of their fellow citizens. The people are confirmed by the article and the right to keep and bear their private arms. O.G. That was written by Tench Cox. Good name. Philadelphia Federal Gazette, June 18th, 1789. The point of the Second Amendment is to protect the citizens from tyranny. Keep the federal government in check. That's it. A benefit is we can protect ourselves against robbers, murderers, and thieves. We can hunt for food. But if our founding fathers believed, here's where I also make people mad, and some people whom are ignorant, they think it's a step too far. Brian, how you doing? What's up, Grimace? You really lowered your standards by letting Brandon on. Ha ha, I know. But he let me on, no. Anyway, that's the whole point of the Second Amendment. You know, we just got done fighting a war against tyranny for our personal individual freedom. We formed a government because it was kind of necessary. I mean, first we had the Articles of Convention, and that really didn't work out too well because the states were fighting amongst themselves, and so they said, okay, maybe we need to give the federal government a little bit more power, but not too much. We got to limit it. But the bulk of the power remains with the people. That's what it says. That was what their heart was. And at the point of the Second Amendment is to stand up against the government, as in the military, then that means the Second Amendment means what it says it means. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It was understood back then that we, the people, Articles of Confederation. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. It was understood back then that we had the right to possess, to buy, to arm, not just in weaponry, but in ammunition and such, every weapon used by the military. Oh, you can't possibly mean a tank. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I don't just mean a tank. I don't just mean a Barrett 50 cal. I mean like an automatic firearm. I mean that too. Absolutely, I do. You know, just because it's legal doesn't mean everybody's going to own it. But, you know, the case law precedents, which doesn't exist, by the way. There's no such thing as case law precedents. It's unconstitutional. It doesn't mean anything. But even as per case law precedents, if the government doesn't, you know, if the military doesn't use it, then we're not supposed to have it. And which also means that if the government does use it, then we can have it. Well, then we can have it. You know, how can you stand up against the military if all you're given is a musket? Okay, let me ask you that question. The point of the Second Amendment, as per our founding fathers, is to stand up against tyranny, including tyranny from our own government, our own military. And in order to stand up against them, we must be armed accordingly. There you go. I didn't say it. Our founding fathers did. I just so happen to agree with it. It's common sense, people. It's common sense. It's what our founding fathers believed. We're going to take a quick break, and I got a couple things that I'm wanting to read from you from the, this assault weapons thing, and a couple points that I want to make to you regarding not just the constitutionality, but in, something about the Federalist Paper number 46. Because the nugget in here You know, I told you the supremacy clause, who has more authority. The national government or state government doesn't really matter because the power resides in the hands of the people. They govern by our consent. Period. We are what gives them power and authority. Deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And there's a point that I have. And we'll talk about that on the other side of this.
You are correct. You are correct. You are correct. You are correct.
Do you work at any of the myriad of jobs where you might have to sit on your bum all day? Well, if so, maybe you know what it's like to suffer from the condition known as swamp ass. Well, if so, have I got the solution for you?
Anti-monkey butt powder.
That's right.
Anti-monkey butt powder.
You can use it indoors, outdoors, work or play, or on any occasion when you sit on your bum all day. Don't let your buns get red. Use anti-monkey butt powder instead. Available wherever anti-friction powder is sold. All right, and we are back. So, yeah, we are talking this whole bill, the assault weapons ban of Illinois, and this is a quite a ridiculous law. Okay, now there's 11 pages of this thing. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. There's actually a couple points in here as far as, you know, their loose description of what an assault rifle is, why it's ridiculous, and then what an assault rifle is not. And yeah. So that's it. Okay? That's it. And then I got a few things to point out afterwards. Okay. Let's go into this. You see, they define in this bill what they believe an assault weapon is, okay? When the fact of the matter is, as the actual description is, and you know they understand that because in every bill where they talk about assault weapons, they always take the time to define it within the bill. There's a reason behind that, because if they don't define it within the bill, then the definition is as the actual definition. That's why they do that. Now, the actual definition of an assault rifle is a rifle that sends downrange multiple rounds with a single trigger pull, whether that be bursts or whether that be the entire magazine. That's what an assault rifle is. That's the dictionary definition of an assault rifle. They know this. That's why in every single bill where they want to ban an assault rifle or, something equivalent, they define it within the bill, because otherwise it is restricted to the actual definition. So what do they define an assault rifle as? Well, let's see. Any rifle that has a belt-fed ammunition... Let me try that again. Any rifle that has a belt-fed ammunition system or which has detachable magazine capable of holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition. A semi-automatic rifle that has the ability to accept a detachable magazine and has any of the following: a folding or telescopic stock, or a shroud that is attached to or partially or completely encircles the barrel that permits the shooter to hold the firearm with non-trigger hand without being burned. What? Now look, let me make something clear on that. That definition of an assault rifle makes every rifle an assault rifle. Makes every rifle an assault rifle. Because every single rifle out there, including a musket, by the way, has a partial shroud on there to protect your fingers from getting burned by the barrel. Most, semi-automatic pistols actually have the same thing. It's called the slide of a gun. Well, that protects your fingers from getting burned by the barrel too. So apparently a slide, and it's defined in there too. Yeah. And then they throw in here, I think, do you work at any of the myriad of jobs where you might have to... Sorry, my bad. Then they also throw in here what is not an assault rifle. And basically that is a rifle that is, lever action, pump action, bolt action, or lever, bolt, or pump action. Yeah. So they throw that in there as they specifically define what a assault rifle is not after they specifically define what an assault rifle is. Okay. Now, here's the thing. This law is set to take effect in January 1st. That's whenever, everybody has to, because part of this is if you have these weapons, you have to register these weapons. And, I don't know about you, but I understand what registering a weapon means. Because first you have registration. Then you have confiscation. Then you have, detention, imprisonment. Then you have elimination. That's how it works. First is registration, then confiscation. Then detention, then elimination. That's how they do it. Ask the history books. Every dictator that has done the same thing has always happened in that freaking order. We're dangerously close to it right now. I'm just being honest with you. We are. Okay. So we don't like that whole registration thing. So, it was told, or we were told that, if you already have one, then you can keep it. However, you have to register it with the federal government, with the state, which is absolutely ridiculous considering, in order to get a weapon or ammunition in the state of Illinois, you have to get what is called a FOID card, firearm identification card, ID card, FOID, firearms identification, firearm operator, whatever, FOID card. Good grief, man. Brain farts. I freaking hate them. And in order to buy a gun, you have to fill out, you got to do your background check for the weapon. Every gun is already registered with the ATF. Every gun is already registered through the state to the ATF. Every gun you buy in the state of Illinois, every gun you buy in the state of Illinois is registered through the state police to the ATF. I'll say that again. Every gun that you buy in the state of Illinois is already registered, has been for a very long time, through the state police to the ATF. I don't think you heard me. Every gun in the state of Illinois has already been registered, that has ever been purchased, through the state to the ATF. Okay, I think you may have gotten it by now. So why is it that they are requiring citizens to register when they already have records of all that anyway? They already know where the guns are. Maybe unlike voter rolls, they actually care about having an updated list. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, but here's a couple digits for you. Okay, one, we have the right to keep and bear arms that shall not be infringed. Also, the armaments that we are constitutionally able to acquire is any type of weapon that is being used by the military. That includes assault weapons. That includes fully automatic assault weapons. That includes the M16. That includes the LSAT. That includes every single one of them, the G36. That includes all of them. As per the Constitution, stated by our founding fathers, that's what they intended. That's the purpose. That's as it was intended. That's the way it's supposed to be. Yes, that even includes a tank. A tank is a gun on tracks. That includes cannons. That includes a whole list of things that our founding fathers wouldn't really like us to have, but it does. It includes it. You may not like it. You may not agree with it, but that's what it is. That's what our founding fathers meant. That's what the Constitution protects, and they shouldn't be doing anything other than protecting that right. You see, here's the thing, okay? We hold these truths to be self-evident, as in it's pretty freaking obvious that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. What does that mean? That you have these rights given to you by nature and nature's God. Their job, as in the federal government, isn't to give you those rights. This here doesn't give you a single freaking right. This book does not grant you any rights. Let me say that again. This little pamphlet right here that I'm holding within my hands does not give you any rights. It acknowledges the rights you already have, and it's the federal government's job to protect those rights. Period. End of story. Moving on. They derive their powers from the consent of the governed. That is a big point in that Federalist Paper number 46. Government gets their power from the consent of the governed. Let me put that to you another way. If the government doesn't have our consent, then they don't have the power to do what it is they're doing. There's a reason I bring that up. Within the state of Illinois, there's over 2 million registered gun owners. I'm sorry, FOID card holders. Over 2 million people whom have registered with the state to get an FOID card. You don't get an FOID card without getting a weapon. Okay. Of those 2 million, only about 6,000 people has re-registered, registered their illegal weapons and magazines and other attachments that were deemed assault rifles and banned. And there's about 18,000 things that were registered, basically saying that only 6,000 people out of 2 million registered about 3 things each. That would be a gun and 2 magazines. Let's just put it to you like that. So 6,000 people registered 1 gun and 2 magazines. That's it. That doesn't even represent 1% of the FOID holders in the state of Illinois. Let me put it to you like this. The Federalist Paper number 46 says that they governed by the consent of the governed. Not even 1% is consenting to this assault weapons ban. Not even 1% of the registered FOID card holders, not even 1% is consenting. What power do they truly have? I'm wanting to talk to some people about some stuff. I am. Because one thing I really, really hope is that this doesn't go by way of the dodo bird. I hope they don't try to do something stupid. I really do. I hope they don't try to do something stupid. Because with that level of civil disobedience, with 99% of the registered firearm owners with that level of civil disobedience, I really hope they don't try to do something stupid. I hope they don't try to get SWAT together and go breaking down doors, because people are going to die. And I don't want that. And if that happens, we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a problem. I'm just being honest. I don't want that to happen. I hope that I would hope that the lawmakers would have done the right thing. I would have hoped that, Governor J.B. Pritzker, Governor Gravy Sweats, as we lovingly call him here at Weaponized Sloth Productions, I hope that he would have done the right thing, as in not even sign this bill into law anyway, understanding that it's a blatant disregard for our rights. And it is. But they don't care. Because they're after their own power to protect their own power, and that means eliminating and removing yours. But I hope the Supreme Court does the right thing, because nobody else in the lawmaking process has. Oh, I'm going to take a drink. That's good. Oh, yeah, good stuff. I'm hoping they do the right thing and they shoot down this freaking law. Because I'm sorry. The Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. I don't understand what's so hard about that one sentence to understand. I really don't. and they don't question the constitutionality of their own law. Bravo, Sierra. Bravo, Sierra. They don't care. And that's really the fact of the matter. They really don't care. So that's all I really got for you guys today. Hour and a half, not an overly long show. Very, very good. So, yeah. Stay vigilant. Stay frosty. I don't want it to happen. But if they try to do something by force, people are going to die. People have already died with these red flag laws that they had. You know, and the cops, yeah, Brian Padena goes, they don't want to understand. You're right, they don't. You know, they've already busted down the doors of people without cause, without a warrant, and people have died already. These red flag laws, again, are a joke. And I'm actually surprised that we haven't heard more about that kind of crap. I'm surprised that wasn't a shot heard around the nation. But in something like this, when you have 99% of FOID holders in a state that are civil, you know, that are agreeing, that are doing the civil disobedience, I don't know how to word that. You know, it's pretty clear that we don't agree with this law, that we don't want it. They do not have our consent. It's pretty stinking clear. 99% of the people are saying, no, you don't have the authority to do this. Check yourself. I don't want anybody to get stupid, but have y'all's met Governor Gravy Sweats? Have you heard him talk? I mean, have you really? Have you listened to him? He's a piece of work. He's a piece of work. Just saying. He's a piece of work. I'm sorry about that. I really am. I mean, I know it's my state. I didn't vote for the guy. But unfortunately, there's just too many people that you know, like him and agree with what he says. Okay. What's the population of Illinois? All right, I had a question in my head. I got to look this up. So let's see. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, okay, never mind. Well, that's obviously changed. But anyway, what my thought process is, yeah, my thought process is with that many people, 2 million people, you know, how in the world, you know, and there's got to be a lot of Democrats that are registered gun owners. Well, not exactly. According to this from worldpopulationreview.com, and the 2015 census estimates put the population at almost 13 million people in Illinois. One of only 7 states that had a negative growth rate in 2016. That's funny. I mean, gee, do you think Governor Gravy Sweats is doing a good job? No, he ain't. This thing says in the 2020 census, the population went up to 331.4 million. Okay, so there's a lot more than what I thought in this state. Holy crap, that's a lot of people. 334 people. Yes, Brian, that does. That includes all the illegals. Yeah, and that's a legitimate question. Brian asked, he goes, does that include all the illegals too? Yes, it does. We were one of them states that said that, yes, if you're illegal, you're welcome. We are a sanctuary state, and they also did not care whether you were a lawful citizen or not during the census. That was one of the arguments, because, the arguments were people that were like, hey, we shouldn't be counting all these illegal aliens because, they're not paying anything into the system. They are a burden, and tax dollars should not go to pay for an illegal alien. Which I have that, I very much have that thought too. It's like, dude, look, if you want to immigrate here, feel free. Immigrate here. I am not against it. I welcome it. That's fine. Do it. But we have a legal process by which that's supposed to be done. It ain't swimming across the Rio Grande. It ain't walking across the border. It ain't going underneath the bridge. That ain't the way it's supposed to be done. That's not the legal and just way of doing it. If you want to do it right. And if you do it right, welcome. Welcome. As Creed would say, with arms wide open, welcome. But if you don't do it legally, then you don't belong here. Go home. My money should not go to pay for you to do whatever you want to do. My dollar should not be paid $9,000 a month so you can live in a 4-star hotel up in Chicago. It pisses me off when my tax dollars get used in that manner. That ain't right. When we got homeless veterans on the street and you jump across the border, hop on a bus and go up to Illinois because that was your designated state that you wanted to go to. You go to Chicago because things are amazing and they spend $9,000 on your ass to put you in a hotel room. I don't like that. $9,000 spent on you every single month. I don't like that. That's not where my tax dollars belong. Anyway. Brian puts in here, we should only count them for the purpose of sending them back. Yeah. Oh, wait, you're illegal? Here, go on this bus. Go on this bus. I'll gladly pay money to ship their ass back home. I don't want to spend another dime on paying for them to stay here, paying for them to go to school, paying for them to sit at home and get food and pay for their health care and everything else. No, I don't want to pay for that. I'll gladly pay for their ticket to send them back home on a bus. Thank you. Don't come again. Thank you. Come again. No, don't come again. If you do it the legal way. Otherwise, keep your ass at home. We don't need you. We don't want you. We got enough. We got enough, man. We got enough. Good grief, man. All right, that's it. That's all I got for today. That's the show. And again, y'all, next week I'm going to have an announcement. It's going to be the kickoff of something amazing. I am truly excited about it. I am. I just found out yesterday about this. And, right now I am sworn to secrecy. So I can't tell you what's going on. I can't. But let's just say something awesome is in the works. And it means big things. It really does. It means something pretty awesome for the Ho Ho Show. I am excited. So yeah, it'll be a good time. Again, when I have the go ahead to let you know what's going on, I will put a post over on social media. The best place to do that would be over at Facebook. Just search the Ho Ho Show and follow, and you'll get that. Otherwise, I might put a post on Twitter. Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, that is all I got for y'all. So have a good one, and I will see you next week. That'll be the kickoff of what's going on next week. Have a good one.
This has been The Ho Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.